My name is Norma Best. I was Norma Leacock. I was born in British Honduras, which is now Belize, and my date of birth is the 20th of May, 1924. I always wanted to travel. One of my grandfathers always said to me, don't stay grounded in the one place, travel. And travel in those days were very difficult for young people. And then when I heard about recruitment for women in the ATS, I thought, there's my opportunity. And then when I told my family about it, my father said to me, which I didn't know before, that he had served in the First World War. And he had done the same as I was going to do. But he said, girl, you know you might never get there. The ship might be bombed. I don't care. If they have me, I'm going. That's how I came. Well, they recruited us in Belize. We had to go and sign, be interviewed by the chief of police, which was done in those days, have a medical, and then have a party with the Governor General's wife. She greeted us and told us what to expect. They were English, of course, when we got here, and the dangers that we might encounter traveling, and tried to put us off, you know. Didn't take any notice. And then waited for our passage to Jamaica. We had to go through. And that's how it came about. 4 days at sea, hurricane. We didn't eat. We didn't think we'd even see Jamaica. It was rough. As I said, we just had to cling on for dear life. We had very little food because they couldn't cook. The ship was like up and down in the ocean. Very frightening. But we all took it in our stride, because everyone was so keen in joining the ATS and traveling. And I think it was the 5th morning, the sun was blazing and we could see the shores coming up, as the boat was going towards Jamaica. And we arrived safely. No harm was done to anyone on the boat, although we had quite a very bad time with the storm and the water and food, and was happy to arrive in Jamaica. And then we were collected by the military and taken away, I think. I can't remember where we were taken to because we had to stay in private digs, which they had arranged. And after that, we had to go into camp every day like we were working and go through all the paces. Then we went to New Orleans and was met, no, was it New Orleans? We were met by the military there, the British, and catered for uniforms and things like that. And then we traveled, yes, I think it's New Orleans, yes. Had days outing, there before. I think we might have spent about a week or so there. And then we went on up to New York and were staying in a hotel in the city, awaiting instructions to travel. Because they don't tell you. I mean, it was all secret, And so the night before, we were always prepared. Everything was always packed. You just use what you want daily and put it back. And they came in one night but at bedtime to say we were leaving in the morning. When we got to Guilford and was training there, that's where we got great friendship with Esther. And there were 2 other Jamaicans, I think, who are now dead. Hazel was one, and then there was another one. And we were like a bunch that kept together while we were training. When we used to go out walking or going out to the clubs, and they would come up to a group of West Indians and they said, why is your color like that? Why is your... They had only known about Africa. They didn't know anything about the Commonwealth. and we had to explain. They were curious about the shades of color, but also wanting to learn, because we taught them a lot. A lot of these girls weren't as worldwide as we were. You know, they went to school and very sheltered, I think they were, whereas we had quite a wide upbringing. From Guildford, I went to Preston because I wanted to be a driver. My father was a driver, so I thought that'll be good. But of course I didn't realize what the climate was. Well, I knew it would be cold, but when you're a driver and then you have a breakdown, you have to look after your car, and I just couldn't take it. And of course, my officers saw that it was affecting my health and recommended I change. So I went into the office administration, and I think I did maybe just a year in Derby, and then I was posted to London.
That picture, when was that taken?
This might have been when we were out and about, holidaying, you know, walking about. We used to get a lot of picture taking.
You had to always wear your uniform?
Oh, we had to. No civilian clothes. And she's the junior commander. This was in Jamaica when we arrived there in 44. She was the sergeant major, and she took the training, you know, trained us, get us all ready to come over to England.
Mm. She wasn't much older than all of you,
no,
was she?
No, she was almost the same age, and she was a cousin of Winston Churchill.
Yes, that's the four of you.
Yes, Lillian, Esther,
Connie
and me. This is when Esther and Connie arranged this with the BBC.
Mm-hmm. We served.
Yes,
that picture there.
I don't know how this. I think this led up from the interview we had when we met, you know, to arrange to do this series for the BBC.
Other picture there.
Well, I was surprised, at least we were, when we read about the bombings and it was normal. I couldn't, the stores were open, there were fruits on the streets selling in markets and things. People were going to the theatre, and everybody were very calm. You wouldn't think there was a war was on. So it didn't frighten us, you know.
No air raid sirens?
There were, but it was part of life. People were, at least where we were, or where I was, never saw them rushing about or anything, or being scared. In Dulwich, I was walking in the village, going shopping, and hardly anyone was about. And as I passed a shop, somebody grabbed hold of me and said, "Come out of the way, there's a bomb." They could hear it, you see, coming, but I wasn't accustomed to that. And after it had fallen, and it fell not very far from where I was, and then after it was cleared away, then I continued.
Did it explode?
It did. People were killed, but I didn't wait around, you know, after it happened. It just happened, and I think most of the people living there, it was a thing for them every day. It's an everyday life, you know. It just happened. My husband, he was in the Royal Navy and came out to Belize, and we met there. And then he applied, when he got back to England, he applied for me to come over and then go to Ceylon. And we got married there. There was a little bit of prejudice. His officer, his commanding officer, didn't approve of his marriage and tried to make problems for him and put him on a charge which was not true. And he was proven not guilty. I think it was simply because he had married me. My most memorable was the end of the war. Was it V-Day? And this celebration along the embankment, which went on all night. I was out didn't get back to camp until the following day because everybody was just so happy because everybody came together and was happy to know that there won't be any more killing, we hope, and they can do what they really want to do, either stay in the army or come out and do a job or whatever. But I've always thought that I would do teaching because that's all I knew about. I was a trainee when I left Belize, trainee teacher. When I took over the headship of Bridge Infant School in 1976, it took me a year to get things the way I wanted it to be. And from then on, life was beautiful.